In this video series, I'm going to talk about the tools and methods I use to make some of the larger cliffs here in Canyon Run. So these methods and tools are really not meant at all for small rocks. They're not even meant for medium-sized rocks. If you've got medium formations, prefabs, megascans, those are still your go-to. What this will help with is very, very large cliff sides that you're not going to find prefabs that work. Even if you could find prefabs that looked correct coming together, it'd be big performance hogs to try to do that. So just go in knowing that this is meant for the big stuff. I also used it for the sides of my river too, so it kind of had two applications. So I'm going to break this series apart into four main sections. Section 1 is talking about how to actually make a cliff, the base mesh of it. Section 2 is going to talk about using sculpting brushes in Blender to make these look more natural, the cliffs. Section 3 is talking about decimation and how to get performance in line with the cliffs. And then Section 4 is how to actually bring it into Unity and properly texture it using some custom shaders I put together. So before we get into those four sections, there is just a little bit of prep we want to do in Blender to basically append some files in so that we can start to work with it. Here you can see in Blender, I'm actually making sections of cliffs directly in Blender, so this is what we're going to go over in Section 1. But to even do this, I have to append some stuff. You'd be appending it just like this directly into your coarse mesh file. But because there's a lot going on already in my coarse mesh file, just so you can visually see what I'm putting in, I'm just going to start with a blank Blender. But again, you can do this directly into your coarse mesh file. So we're going to do two appends. The first one, so this is, we find the file that I'm going to provide to be downloaded. It's a brushes.blend file. And the first append we want to do is to get the right brushes. So we go into brushes. I'm going to grab custom 1-1 through custom 3-47. That's all of the ones that I had been using. So let's grab all those, hit append. The second append is going to be, I want the collections. So everything here. I'm going to collapse these down. Really everything under template rocks we can hide. They're there because we use them, but they don't need to be visually displayed. The main thing we're going to be working off of is this template layer. The last thing I need to do to prep the workspace is if I go into the sculpting, so if I have a cube here just so I can go into sculpt mode. I can bring this up. If this looks different to you, it could be because you're on Blender 3. I'm on Blender, I think 4.5. The Blender 4 interface is a little different for sculpting. I recommend it, so if you can do the upgrade, or Blender 5 even. But what we want to do is change this outlier to be the asset browser. And rather than all libraries, I want to see the current file, and I want to create a tab down here so that I can see where all these custom brushes are. So I'm just going to hit the plus. Let's just call this custom brushes. Stay on current file. We'll go back to all, click one of them, hit the A button, which would select them all, and I can just drag them right into custom brushes. And what that'll do is if I go to the menu system over here on the left, I can select custom brushes, and there they all are, the ones that we want to have for section 2. If you test them out, they're not actually going to do anything, and the reason is because this cube has no geometry really to work with, just those flat sides. If you actually wanted to test them on this cube in theory, what you could do is in edit mode on the cube, you could subdivide it and do something like, I think 100 subdivisions. I mean, you actually in theory want to do a lot more than that to have more geometry to work with, but this would at least be enough to show this working. And I could go in here and actually show the sculpting brushes actually working. So that's what that is. So now we have our sculpting brushes. We have our template file to work with. That's enough to basically get us rolling into video 1, which will be next.